All right, another update video. I'm just dry fitting everything right now. I was hoping to get the supercharger plate and everything bolted back down permanently, but I'm still waiting on that extension plug for the air intake temp sensor. Now it won't be here till Tuesday, and it's Saturday, and I can't plug that in, and there's no way to plug it in after it's bolted down, so I kind of have to plug it in as I'm setting it on. So I at least put the IMRC delete plates in, the gaskets, and then set the supercharger on because I really wanted to see if this thing was going to fit, and it doesn't, kinda. So the problem I'm running into is, like I said, this guy had this in this engine but in a Marauder, but so if I try to slide it in there, you can see there's just not enough room. Well, what it's hitting is this part that sticks out where those two bolts are, that was for the factory strut tower brace, which that's long gone on this. You can't run those on these with the supercharger anyways. So now I'm kind of at the crossroads. Do I want to take those bolts out and either kind of cut that tab off or just hammer it flat? I mean, once that elbow's on, you'll never even really be able to see it, it's kind of gonna look bad because I'll never be able to run a strut tower brace anyways. So I think I'm just gonna do that. I kind of hate to beat up this car because it's nice and low miles, but it's so modified anyways. At this point, it doesn't really matter. And the other issue was the bracket for the throttle cable, how he had this made. If you see right now, it's kind of flush with the backside. Well, it had this extra tab too for the cruise control cable, and that stuck way out, and where that lines up is in this rat's nest of, watch this coil plug, but this rat's nest of wires and stuff, which I need to clean up anyways. But it was going to be sticking, you know, way into this. I mean, there was no way it was going to fit. Well, I haven't had cruise control in this car anyways. I mean, the cable, here's the cable, I just tucked it back right here for now, but it wasn't hooked up before. The way these brackets worked, I don't know if it was even possible on the Kenne Bell cars. It was just never hooked up when I bought it. Never really cared about it, so I never messed with it. It was just always tucked away. So I went ahead and cut that tab off because I'm not gonna need it anyways. So I think now I'm going to remove those two bolts and try and hammer that tab back kind of curled under, kind of how this part is right here. And then this should actually work. And then, I don't know, I'm gonna go from there, and then still just waiting on stuff to show up. I got the rest of my methanol lines, so I got the other ones. I already ran underneath the bottom of the plate, so these will tee together. There'll be another injector that'll go into this port here once this is all said and done. But so this is the other methanol line, and I'll clean all that up when I'm putting everything back together for good. But so that's where we're at. I'm gonna get to hammering on that and see how it looks. All right, I just ended up taking a Sawzall and just cutting that off. Pretty easy, just lay towels everywhere to keep the shavings under control. I'm gonna take a shop vac and suck up as much of these as I can, then just fold all these rags up and throw it away. Didn't really make too much of a mess. And I'll throw some paint on that bare metal. But like I said, once that elbow's on, you're never gonna see that anyway, so actually doesn't even look that bad. No worse than how the factory left it, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna get this cleaned up and then throw the supercharger back on and then see if the elbow fits now. All right, well, it fits. I had to do a little more cutting. I don't know if you can see, but there's not much of a gap, that's for sure. I don't know if it's gonna focus or not, but yeah, not much of a gap, but there's a little bit of one, so we're good, it fits. I had to trim more of the throttle cable bracket down. I'll pull it out and show pictures of that, but it should be fine. I mean, there's not a lot of stress on that. So I guess if it does try to bend or something from the pressure of the throttle cable, I can always gusset it from the back or something, but it should be fine. I think that thing was kind of overbuilt anyways. So yeah, this thing's in. It looks sick. That thing's huge. It really does look like a Terminator 03, 04 Cobra position of the throttle body where it sits. It might be a fuzz further back, and maybe a little further out. It's hard to tell. I was just looking at a bunch of pictures, but I think the JLT for the 03, 04 Cobra is going to line up pretty good. Like I said, if not, I've got my old clamp from this one I can hack up to use, and I still got this elbow from my old one. I can try and trim if I need to position it around, but I'm a little worried about this AC line. I don't know if on the Terminators it's in the same spot, but yeah, that might be an issue. I don't know, we'll see. So yeah, I guess now I'm just waiting on the rest of my parts to show up. I'll probably end up just taking this thing back apart. I'm gonna paint where I cut on the firewall. Like I said, you can't even see, you can't even tell I did anything. But I'll throw some paint there so it doesn't get any surface rust. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to throw some plugs back in it. I'm gonna bore scope all the cylinders while I have the plugs out and make sure I didn't drop anything down in there and clean those out real good. Yeah, and then once everything shows up, I can start putting this thing back together. But yeah, this thing's gonna be sweet. I wish I could do something with this idle air control valve. They look so ridiculous on these cars, because it's gonna sit, oh, it's tangled. It's gonna mount right here, like that, which isn't too bad. Actually, it doesn't look too bad on this supercharger. It looked weird with that one, but I really wanted to move it somewhere. I know these things don't really run right without them. The guy actually, he must have had it delete. He gave me this, I don't know, it's like this delete thing he must have ran. Don't really know how it works or what, but if I had some sort of standalone engine management system, I could probably get away with not running it, but I'm still on the factory computer. So I'm gonna keep that for now. But yeah, I'll probably be next week sometime when I post anything else, because I'm gonna have to wait on stuff to show up. So I'll update then.